Hi, I'm Dominic Golding, Director of the London Project Centre. Since you're listening to this site session, I assume you're interested in going to London to do your IQP. So let me tell you a little more about the centre. The London Project Centre is the second oldest centre in the global programme. Since 1987, more than 1,500 students have conducted over 450 projects on a wide range of topics with a variety of different sponsors. Many of our projects are conducted with government agencies, museums, and other charitable organisations. Greater London comprises 32 boroughs and the City of London. We've conducted projects with many of these boroughs over the years. Most recently, we've had projects in Brent, Camden, Hounslow, Lambeth, Lewisham, Kingston, Sutton, and Croydon. Many of the borough projects focus on reducing energy consumption and promoting green initiatives in transportation, housing, and council office buildings. For example, in E17, we did projects on environmental sustainability in Sutton, emergency planning for heat waves in Hounslow, and the use of permeable paving to reduce flooding in Camden. London is home to some of the best museums in the world, and we've conducted projects with many of them, including the British Museum, the Tower of London, the Imperial War Museum, the Science Museum, the Museum of London, and the London Transport Museum. We've also conducted projects with some of the smaller, less well-known museums, such as the Museum of Homelessness and the British Postal Museum. Students have helped museums redesign exhibits, refresh galleries, and develop a wide range of educational materials and activities for teachers, school children, and families. For example, in 2016, the team helped the Design Museum develop an educational resource for teachers that is now on sale in the museum shop. In 2017, the team had the opportunity to select objects for display at the Design Museum in one of their new galleries. In sum, the projects really do have substantive practical outcomes that you can be proud of. We also conduct projects with a number of charitable organisations looking at issues such as services for youth and the elderly, water quality, and organic food. I'm delighted to say that we recently conducted several projects with private entities such as Crossrail and the London Underground, which are engaged in some of the largest engineering projects in Europe. Recent projects have developed educational materials for schools along the route of the Elizabeth Line, explored how to reduce passenger crowding and congestion, and examined how to enhance stopping accuracy of tube trains at stations. The slate of projects varies from term to term, but you can be sure the projects will have a similar mix of sponsors and topics as in previous years. All the projects are designed to give you a rewarding professional experience with opportunities to meet and rub shoulders with a wide range of interesting and knowledgeable people. The project sponsors love having students around. They go out of their way to make you welcome, and they really do appreciate and use the results of your research. For more information on past projects, check out the London Project Centre website at the following URL. If you go to London, you'd be living in the very heart of the city, in either Bloomsbury or Clerkenwell. Bloomsbury is an upmarket part of London that was made famous by the Bloomsbury Set, a group of early 20th century writers, artists, and intellectuals, including Virginia Woolf, E.M. Forster, and John Maynard Keynes. Bloomsbury comprises a beautiful collection of Regency buildings that remain part of the Duke of Bedford's estate. It is home to the British Museum, the Dickens Museum, and University College London, and numerous pubs and restaurants. Clerkenwell is a trendy area just east of Bloomsbury that has been gentrified in recent years and has become extremely popular with millennials and hipsters. There are daily street markets such as Exmouth Street and Leather Lane, and numerous restaurants, pubs and clubs. Clerkenwell and Bloomsbury are a short walk from Regent's Park, shown here on the top end of the map, Oxford, the River Thames, many of the major London sites as indicated on the map, shopping in Oxford Street, and the vibrant areas of Covent Garden, Leicester Square and Chinatown. Your Oyster card will allow you to use all forms of public transport, tube, bus, trains and water taxis to explore the city, and several tube stops and mainline stations are located nearby the student housing. The apartments are on quiet residential streets. Students stay in 1 to 4 bedroom apartments with shared bathrooms, living rooms, and fully equipped kitchens. The apartments or flats have free internet, cable, and flat screen TVs. Large, well-stocked grocery stores, pharmacy, and other shops are within easy walking distance. Our housing provider is Acorn London, so you can check out the details at their website here. I'm not going to spend much time talking about London since you probably know a lot about the city and the attractions that interest you. I will say that contrary to all the stories you've heard, the food in London is fantastic. And if you're careful, you might even find some bargains. The recent foodie revolution and the long history of the British Empire means that you can find fabulous food for any palate from any part of the world, from street vendors to exquisite restaurants. Okay, the weather can be pathetic at times, but the weird thing about London is that it can be grey and drizzly for days, although you never seem to get really very wet. The English say there is never lousy weather, just lousy choices in clothing. I've been to London in D and E term and had 6 weeks of glorious, warm, sunny days. Though, of course, there's no guarantees. Daytime temperatures are typically in the 50s and occasionally low 60s in D term and in the 60s and 70s in E term. Regardless of the weather, the best way to explore London is on foot, although public transit makes it very easy to go further afield and explore the English countryside, including castles, such as that at the castle at Windsor or Dover, ancient monuments such as Stonehenge, and beautiful cities like Bath and Oxford. Advisors may organise trips to other places like Box Hill, just to the south of London, and the Seven Sisters on the south coast. With 5 airports and the Eurostar train, it is also easy and relatively cheap to explore other parts of Europe. The London Project Centre offers projects in C, D and E terms. Typically, we offer 6 projects in each term with 4 students per project for a total of 24 students in each cohort. Students with American passports will not need visas to enter the UK. Students without American passports may require visas depending on their country of origin. Please check with Candice Reuter in IGSD before filing any visa requests, since the UK is especially restrictive and has a rigid visa application process. If you have questions about the London Project Centre of any kind, feel free to email me. Of course, the best way to find out about the London experience is to talk to students who have been there, so I encourage you to ask around. You can find student names on the London Project Centre website. You can also check out the website that Kyla, Catherine, Elijah and Joseph put together for students in 2019 to find out more about the London Project Centre and the application process. For additional details about the application process and deadlines, go to the eProjects site at the URL shown. Thanks for your interest in the London Project Centre, and I look forward to meeting you soon.